As the dividing line in American politics increasingly becomes capitalism versus socialism, you're going to find people like these two on the same side, because they've always been on the same side. They've always supported capitalism. And what's fun is we can swap these two out for other odd bedfellows and still say the same thing for the same reason. Because capitalists are gross, but they're also genius. They give you the illusion of choice, where no matter what you're choosing, you're always choosing them. And if that makes you unhappy, they say, what? You chose this. So as a true left emerges to challenge both versions of the right, you're going to see all the personalities and politicians you're used to suddenly oppose you. Because no matter what you think of socialism, it didn't buy Barack Obama's presidency or his library. It didn't make George Soros a billionaire or Elon Musk a trillionaire. And it didn't give Jon Favreau a job as a mediocre speechwriter turned intolerable podcaster. We have capitalism to thank for that. So as socialism wins and they whine, remember, this is a good sign. Because while you may know who's who, not everyone does. And as both sides shake out, people are going to see there are so few of them and so many of us.
Hassan Piker, is one of the biggest frauds in U.S. politics. He pretends to be for socialism, and yet he backs basically every Democrat, and really is essential to justifying the Democratic Party. How many of you saw that little photo op? Yes, so Hassan's sitting on the train reading What Is to Be Done. What Is to Be Done is a polemic against people like Hassan Piker, who have all these illusions about the bourgeois state. The state is not a neutral entity. Once class society develops, there's a need for a state. The state preserves and maintains the class rule of the dominant class. Under capitalism, that means the state protects the interests of the capitalist class. And in the US, because of our imperial chauvinism, we generally are totally ignorant of the reality of other capitalist societies, where social democratic parties not only were in power, but actually oversaw some very brutal repression, like the Social Democrats who led the counter-revolution in Germany in 1919, or like the French Communist Party that led and was at some of the forefront of the repression in May '68 in France. So a lot of the social democratic illusions that exist, which will grow as we move more towards fascism, are like, oh my God, we got Zoran, yay, it's so great, we can win things. There's some free childcare now. Or, oh my God, there was a big electoral victory and one of the candidates said she's a communist, and that means that everything's going to be better now, and we'll have a sweeping victory of the democratic socialists, and then everything will be good in the US. These are illusions. Illusions which a section of the bourgeoisie will promote to hide the monstrosity of the bourgeois state and convince a section of the population who might otherwise turn to revolutionary organizing to believe that we can resolve our problems through the ballot box. Do you believe the people who are carrying out the genocide in Gaza, and the US bourgeoisie is, they're working with their little Israeli ethno-settler enclave to do it, but the US bourgeoisie is carrying out that genocide. Do you believe they're going to let people vote their way to freedom? The government that's killed how many tens of millions of people since World War II, that has carried out how many coups against Latin American countries? Do we think they're afraid of killing American citizens? Do you think they'll let American people vote their way to freedom? It's an illusion. And the state, as we see very clearly with this rollout of surveillance, will be integral to the repression of any revolutionary effort. And the state offers no hope in terms of elections fundamentally transforming the society. You just can't vote your way out of this thing.
Every single politician that released an embarrassing post like this, commemorating well-known fascist and racist Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, should be disqualified from any popular support ever. Because commemorating a racist, say it with me now, makes you a racist. Commemorating a fascist makes you a fascist. Commemorating a genocidal maniac, so much so that he got a special mourning from Stand With Us Israel, does in fact make you a genocidal maniac. And it is not more civil to life or humanity to commemorate a murderer. Lindsey Graham was a murderer. He sat and watched with glee while America bombed, with his support and his votes and his funding, Iran and Iran's schools and Iran's hospitals. He watched with glee while Israel bombed hospitals and churches and citizens and civilians and children and schools in Palestine. He not only did nothing, he supported it at every single step of the way, much like many of y'all are. And that is because you are not acting out of civility. You are acting as a friend. You are acting as a coworker because your job is the same. You are not opposed. You are different in how you want to go about it, completing the aims of empire. Because if your goal wasn't to bomb children in Iran, then you would see that as a war crime that you do not affiliate yourself with. But if you, like the Democrats, if you, like Amy Klobuchar, want to bomb Iran quieter, if you, like Kamala Harris, believe that Iran should be invaded if it does blank, blank, and blank, then you equally don't recognize the humanity of the people and victims of Lindsey Graham. And so, of course, you can be friends with him. Of course, you commemorate him. Of course, well, we didn't quite want to do fascism that way, but we can look past that because we both cared about this imperial country. So end the civility. I will not be civil with fascists. End the civility. I will not be civil with racists, even though I have the privilege to do so. I mean, look at me. Because there is nothing civil about getting along with, supporting, or commemorating racists. And there is nothing civil about treating them like their opinions matter, like their work was productive, and like they did anything good for this world. And it is actually deeply violent and uncivil to commemorate racists and fascists when the victims of their policies are still out here suffering from those very policies, or worse, have already perished because of them.